Let's talk about dyeing.
Welcome back everyone! Today we're gonna talk about resin dyeing. Because ever since I found out you can dye BJDs in any color you want, I haven't stopped doing it. I think the first time I really found out about it was on Miss Mantis' Instagram account. The dolls look amazing, and from the tutorials on her account I learned all the things I needed to know to get started. I asked if it was okay to do a video about it and got permission to show some of her photos. The link to her account is in the video description. So let's start! First of all, this is gonna get messy. If you have the possibility of doing it anywhere else but your kitchen, do that. I don't have that option, so I try to work as clean as possible and will scrub the surfaces thoroughly afterwards. The most important thing for dyeing is the pot. I'm using an enamel pot because Miss Manta said so. Regardless of what material, please make sure to never eat from that pot again. Getting started with gloves. Trust me, you don't want to work without them. Speaking from experience here. I put a bit of dye in a cup so I can later measure it more easily. Of course you can also just pour it into the water, but I like to have a bit of control over the amount of dye I'm using. Add a teaspoon of dish detergent when working with Grit Dye More. It's in their instructions, and the only time I didn't use it, I got streaky results. Maybe a coincidence, but I'm not risking it. I usually have a small measuring cup, but I didn't find it in time for the video, so I use a syringe to measure the dye here. I only wanted a light 10 for this doll, so I'm just adding a bit of dye at a time. While I'm waiting for the water to start boiling, I get my wire or thread and prepare all the parts for dipping. I make sure that the wire is long enough so the parts are floating freely underwater and don't touch the pot. I usually start with a knee or elbow joint to test the color. If I don't like the result, it's easier to strip the dye from a small piece. But here you can see the difference, and it's pretty much what I wanted. So, on to the rest. I use my phone to stop the time. Keep in mind that bigger pieces usually take a bit longer for the same result as smaller pieces. And make sure that it's properly submerged. I usually advise to keep the lid on the pot to keep the water from evaporating, but I cut my wire too short and, well, now I'm holding it. Make sure to keep the water simmering when working and have some hot water at hand to substitute the evaporated water. Once the time is up, I drop the piece in some water to wash off excess dye. It's important to clean the pieces when you're done. I usually scrub them with a wet magic eraser sponge and afterwards go over them again with rubbing alcohol. Especially when your result is uneven or blotchy, it will do wonders. And if you feel like it's taking off too much dye, then just dip again. So, apart from getting a doll in the color of your dreams, what else can you do with this? Color matching. I have several hybrids where I have color matched body and head. Sometimes with very subtle differences, sometimes with very big differences in the original dolls. I did a nearly perfect color match for Fairyland Tan Skin with measurements I got from Mia's BJD salon, and I couldn't be happier about it. I will definitely need that again in the future. And another interesting thing you can do with dyeing is gradients. I had the honor of dyeing a minifee Mio for the Lynx from white to grey for her mascot. And It was a lot of fun to do the gradients on the face and body. To dye such a gradient, you have to keep dipping the doll. So the parts that you want darker are longer in the dye than the lighter parts. Make sure to have your wire or thread long enough so you don't get burned on the hot steam. Also talking from experience here. I was a bit scared of the face, because if you mess up that part, you know, not good. But in the end it turned out really nice, and I'm very happy with the result. And to see what the Lynx did with that doll, go and watch her video. You probably already did, but whatever! So that was a quick tutorial about how I dye my dolls. I hope you find it at least a little bit helpful if you try to do it yourself. And, well, have fun! See you in the next video in, I don't know, half a year or so. Add a teaspoon of dish detergent when working with grit dye mold. It's in their destruction. I usually start with a knee or elbow joint. Elbow. That was a very quick tutorial about how I dye my dolls. Do you want to say hi?